Entertainment is fundamentally broken. When they say you should see yourself on the screen today, it's a term I agree with, but it doesn't mean to me what it means to them. Yesterday, I watched The Wizard of Oz, and look at it, I've got it here. Look at Dorothy. Look at the wonderful, multi-talented Judy Garland. This film truly is a fucking beautiful achievement. Dorothy, when I think of the term seeing yourself on the screen, it's Dorothy. Because we all watch this film as teenagers and children. She is all of us. Because when we were growing up, we lived in this humdrum existence. Most of us did. And we would have given anything for a temporary escape. The Wizard of Oz, Back to the Future, E.T. do all the same kind of things. These were films where families could watch them. And today it doesn't matter if you're part of the LGBTQ community, Latinx, Black, Greek Cypriot, Anglo-Greek Cypriot. She is all of us. She doesn't have to be gay. She doesn't have to look like you to be you. She's an aspirational character. This is what movie making used to be. I look at today with the superhero movies. They're either too light or too dark. They either take themselves far too seriously or not seriously enough. There's no middle ground anymore. Basically, The Wizard of Oz is a story about a young woman who wants to escape to a better tomorrow. So she goes away from this dreary, humdrum, black and white existence in Kansas, and she wakes up in Oz, where it's in Technicolor. There's beautiful creatures, and it's a great adventure for her. And she meets a good witch and a wicked witch. Everything has its kind of simplistic manner to it. But in this world, she's not ignored because the Scarecrow, the Lion, and the Tin Man love Dorothy. They love her. They look up to her. She is their hero. Now, Auntie Em ignores Dorothy when she warns her about the old lady coming to take Toto. Nobody ignores Dorothy in Oz. It's the ultimate fantasy for a young person. Wish fulfillment, aspirational characters. She is seeing herself on the big screen because as kids, she was us. And when we're watching this, it's us whose house is flown away in a twister and goes to a more colourful, exciting world, away from our normal existence. It doesn't mean that our parents are bad people. It doesn't mean Auntie Em is a bad person. And ultimately, the moral of The Wizard of Oz is there's no place like home. You miss home when it's not there, but you enjoy the adventure that you had because it teaches you something about yourself. Watching this, I learned something about myself, my parents, and my siblings. It's not just Back to the Future and Wizard of Oz that did this. E.T. did this. A young boy trying to understand why his father doesn't live with them anymore. Young kid, nobody takes him seriously. Then he meets a friendly alien and he learns something about life, about treating people with respect no matter where they're from and what they look like. And he comes to terms with the fact that his father will never live with him again. Basically, E.T. becomes his surrogate dad in a way. It's wish fulfillment, everyone. It's aspirational. This is what we've lost in entertainment today. The difference is from the forebearers that created Hollywood, Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton, Stan Laurel. Those people felt that they wanted to entertain you. And they found it offensive if they didn't. And they didn't put the blame on you. They put the blame on themselves if they failed to entertain you. They very rarely failed to entertain the public. Imagine being in 1939, going to the cinema to see The Wizard of Oz. In one screen it was The Wizard of Oz, in the other screen it was Gone with the Wind. The talent was multiple. We talk about strong female leads. The Wizard of Oz had Judy Garland in 1939 leading an entire movie. Gone with the Wind had Vivien Leigh, Scarlett O'Hara, another strong, impactful female lead. And modern entertainment tell you that this never used to happen. They want to forget about those great actresses, those great characters those actresses played. 1939, a few months before World War II, Hollywood was booming. It would need to be rebuilt again after the Second World War, but it was there. It inspired people. As I say, it was aspirational. And even after the Second World War, they rebuilt Hollywood and it was aspirational again. Today, we don't have aspirational characters. Social justice warriors have taken over the entertainment industry, and all they want to do is you to point to the screen and say, oh, I'm black. There's a black person on the screen. Oh, it's a woman. There's a woman on a screen. You see, the women didn't do that when they saw Scarlett O'Hara. The interesting thing with Scarlett O'Hara and Vivien Leigh's performance is that men and women both fucking loved her. It didn't matter who you was. She was an amazing character. She starts off as this spoiled brat, but she learns about the world. And the moment that Rhett Butler, right, leaves her, she learns something in the end about her flaws and about who she really needs to become. You see, flawed female characters are something we don't get anymore because social justice warriors don't believe that women are flawed, that minorities are flawed. To them, it's straight white males that are the problem. People say to me, social justice warriors say to me, entertainment always had political commentary in it. No, it had social commentary in it. Yes, there is political commentary, but none of these movies, none of these television shows ever put down any groups of people purposely. Yes, if we're in the Civil War and, you know, people from the North were being racist to a black person, it's because the characters were like that back then. It's something else today as well. They're trying to rewrite historical biopics. They're trying to rewrite history via their biopics. We've seen it in The Woman King. A very aggressive, passive-aggressive title to make a point, to appoint a woman a king. We have Viola Davis, the star of this film, who I like a lot as an artist. Go and watch it, or black women won't be leading movies anymore. If you don't go to see a movie starring a woman of colour or minority, you're an ist or an isn't to these people. They're threatening you. I'm surprised they don't kick our doors down and take us at gunpoint and make it a law that we have to go and see these mediocre propaganda merchant movies. This is where we are today. Entertainment is no fun anymore. There's so much discourse within fandoms enacted via the technology that is social media. It's true, we didn't have social media when I was young. That's good. I think social media has killed entertainment as well. And it's giving a level of control to the entertainment industry as well. If there's negative discourse, there's a reason for it, because the industry is not fun anymore. It's not fun to go to the cinema anymore. There's nothing for families to go and enjoy anymore, or nearly nothing, right? What do families go and see now? The odd animated movie, an MCU movie, that's all they've got. And even the MCU movies are not really fit for families anymore with their messages and their messaging. It's not fun anymore. It's hard work. As an adult, you're seeing what they're saying about your generations. They're putting you down. And to the kids, they're trying to teach them their way of thinking. That's never what entertainment used to be. I grew up in a great era of entertainment where the artists and the directors spoke about their movies, then went home. That was it. We didn't hate them, and they didn't act like they hated us. Maybe they did hate us, but they knew who their customers were. And whether you like it or not, the predominant motivating factor of audiences are males. Now, I want females and minorities to go and enjoy movies, but we are the ones who pay for the merch, who buy the DVDs, the Blu-rays, the 4Ks and the digital copies all at once. And they hate us, and they make no secret of hating us. When did entertainment become this? And this really leads me to what I want to talk about today. And it's my beloved Superman, who really is fallen foul to entertainment today. The discourse around Man of Steel and BVS is there. Superman's representation is a weapon of discourse today. Back in '78, Superman was this optimistic character we all looked up to. Now, I still look up to Henry Cavill's Superman in Man of Steel and BVS. That isn't the point. The difference is there, and the difference is here. Just look at the expression on her face. It's innocence, everyone. People were innocent. People were innocent in the 60s, the 70s. We were, as kids, innocent in the 80s when they were putting The Wizard of Oz on the telly. And we were watching Back to the Future for the first time, or Gremlins, or Ghostbusters. It was pure innocence. The entertainment was for the innocent. It was enjoyable. It was beautiful. It gave you a great feeling of escapism. Escaping doesn't mean escaping from your humdrum reality forever. This is what The Wizard of Oz actually says. The author of The Wizard of Oz was selling his first book in 1900. Some geezer come up with The Wizard of Oz in 1900. Because we think today that our writers and our producers and our directors and our actors are pioneers. But they're not. Making great CGI doesn't make you a fucking pioneer. A guy in 1900 invented the Wizard of fucking Oz. God knows what year Buck Rogers was invented in, or Flash Gordon. The people, the forebearers of entertainment and stories are the groundbreakers, the ones who lit the blue touch paper. Superman was created a year before The Wizard of Oz went into cinemas. The comic book superhero was invented. And it was invented to give power back to ordinary people. Inspiration against burglars and murderers. In fact, I think it was it Siegel or Schuster, one of them who created Superman? Actually, their father died in a bank robbery or something like that. So he wanted to take back control. And it's just so interesting when all these great things were created and invented. We have directors like James Gunn today talking about putting Easter eggs from his favourite movie or favourite song. He has his mixtapes. Most of those mixtapes, if not all, are from old songs. Because we don't have, the generation today don't have a pop culture. So they're using ours. I come to kind of analysing myself as well and thinking, am I getting old? Are things as bad as I think today? Or is it just because I'm old and I'm looking back in time with rose-coloured glasses? I had 3 fucking channels as a child. BBC One, BBC Two, ITV, Channel 4, came a lot longer, came a lot in the future, and so did Channel 5. But somehow, I had a VHS recorder, and I recorded so much good shit off the telly. I was never bored. I didn't have the selection we have today, but maybe you can have too much of a choice. And when you get too much of a choice, then things become a bit mediocre. People warned about this when the multi-channel was introduced via Sky Television, and they were right. We went from multi-channels to streaming. You look at the television series we get on streaming today, you watch them once, you don't go back to them. These are not 24, Lost, Smallville, Alias, Prison Break. The early noughties was revolutionary for making cinematic television shows like Lost and 24. Now, the production values in the streaming shows are fantastic, but the storytelling, and this is one of the problems as well with cinema and television today, via streaming, everything's become too real-worlded. You don't escape anymore. The messaging is about politics, today's modern-day politics. And it's all coming from one political opinion, the extreme left. And no other opinion is allowed to get in. And if you have another opinion, it'll get quashed. I ain't a political person, but I don't believe anyone coming from any direction is 100% fucking right. People don't believe in the democratic system anymore. Democracy sounds very good and fair and right, but it's not. We saw what they did during the pandemic. That wasn't very democratic, was it? Shaming people, forcing people. I couldn't even get in the cinema because I forgot my vaccine passport at home via my phone. And I couldn't prove that I'd had my 3 vaccines, which I had. Think about that for a minute. They tried to take away movies from cinemas, and it didn't work. So now they're embracing the cinematic system. But what's the point in embracing a system when you don't have the content that people want to see or need to see? Society needs a break from reality. This is why entertainment was created, because you don't have a healthy democracy without good entertainment. I'm not here to sell you snake oil. I'm here because I'm literally, genuinely movies TV mad. I was watching a beautiful Wizard of Oz documentary. And in fact, after this documentary, I watched Oz, the Great and the Powerful, a Wizard of Oz prequel movie directed by Sam Raimi that people are sleeping on. A lot of people hated it back in the day. I love it. And it really does set up the Wizard of Oz. This documentary made me cry. Why did I cry while watching a Wizard of Oz documentary? Because I'm being educated. I'm remembering what the industry was. This film is fucking revolutionary. Even today when I see it, it looks beautiful and I wonder how they did it. Now and again, you can see a few strings because they didn't have the techniques they even had in the 70s or 80s. This was 1939, but they did a tremendous job with it. And Judy Garland, well, she's a hero of mine, like Vivien Leigh is. I mean, Judy Garland, she's a great singer, she's a great dancer, or she was. But her acting in this movie is brilliant. She may be one of the most multi-talented people I've ever seen perform the art form before. This is what yesteryear was all about. Judy Garland didn't get this job because of her DNA. Judy Garland didn't get this job because she looked a certain way or she was a certain colour. Now, back in those days, attitudes were truly racist. There was a terrible attitude towards African Americans in the entertainment industry. You know that. But we're not talking about what was right and wrong back then. We're talking purely about entertainment. The forebearers, Harold Lloyd, Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, Stan Laurel, pioneers. And then it was taken on by modern day filmmakers and actors. And there's so many films and television shows I can talk about here. And the video would go too long. But the reason, something happened to me yesterday actually when I watched The Wizard of Oz. It made me think about Superman. I was thinking, wow, a story about a young teenager who's in this humdrum existence. It's the best story of them all, and it's been done again and again and again. Even Masters of the Universe, the character Courtney Cox plays, and her boyfriend go through this great adventure where their humdrum world is brought to life by an alien invasion. It's that journey of being this ordinary existence and being taken on this beautiful adventure. I mean, the Doctor Who revival really did The Wizard of Oz, didn't it? Rose is Dorothy. She gets into the tornado that is the Doctor and the TARDIS. And she has this evolution, this change. Rose is someone who hates her humdrum existence. She doesn't want to sit there eating chips and going to work. That's what she tells her mother, Jackie. She meets the Doctor and she travels through the universe. And it's a great adventure. This, my friends, is the greatest way of telling a story. And there's so many great stories using this thing. This is how you used to get children and families to watch television and go to cinemas and watch great films. And as I say, this made me think about Superman. How do we evolve Superman today? Because there isn't these type of films anymore. Because the Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't do that. It doesn't take a young person on an adventure with a hero or to meet these wondrous characters. They're there, they're part of the real world. Some of them even hold mobile phones. There's not much fantasy element to it. So what do we do with Superman? Well, I was thinking about Jimmy Olsen at first, and I was thinking, wouldn't it be amazing if we could do a Superman movie via Jimmy Olsen's point of view? Now, a lot of people are going to say to me, who'd want to watch that? Because it's wondrous. We don't make Jimmy Olsen a 20, 25-year-old like some of the movies have done and the TV shows. No, he's a fucking teenager. And he goes on this adventure. He meets Superman on Superman's first day. And Superman needs his help and takes him with him. And they share in this adventure. And we tell the origin story of how Jimmy Olsen becomes Superman's best pal. Hollywood have been sleeping on Jimmy Olsen. He's Dorothy. He's fucking Marty McFly. And if you can see an adventure, see Superman from those young, naive eyes about someone stuck in a humdrum existence and going on this beautiful adventure, I would make a Superman movie coming from Jimmy Olsen's point of view in a second movie, not a first movie. My first movie would be a teenage Kal-El on Krypton. I would make him my Dorothy. All of a sudden, you know, everything erupts on Krypton. It's about to be destroyed. And he can see everyone, you know, going and dying. So he gets on a ship and he escapes. And we use that ship as the tornado from The Wizard of Oz again. And he goes to Earth. He arrives on Earth. And Earth seems wondrous to him. It seems as wondrous to him as it does, as Oz seems to Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. Because all of a sudden, he has powers on Earth. He can fly. And he knows he couldn't do this on Krypton. So all of a sudden, he sees Earth as this wondrous, beautiful place that he takes to his heart. He's having the adventure. He's Dorothy. The Earth is Oz, and he is Dorothy on this marvelous adventure. And then in the second movie, we take that adventure to Jimmy Olsen. And he's the one having the adventure and being our Dorothy. It's the best way to tell a story. And this is how you get children and families desperate to watch Superman again. Because making Superman be this dark figure doesn't inspire people. I understand. I love Man of Steel. I love BVS. It's not about that. That's been done. That's been done. But we have to reopen entertainment for families again. Because that's what's been taken away from entertainment. That's what social justice warriors have done. There's nothing really appealing for families anymore. Just look at the streaming stuff. There's a couple of things, Stranger Things, but it's not really for families. It's for individual teenagers and kids to watch on their own. As a kid, we had one TV, and we used to sit as a family and watch it. We used to watch Dallas together, and Dynasty, and the Colbys, and Knots Landing, the A-Team, Knight Rider. These were family events. Now, technically, those shows didn't have much to them. I mean, Dallas did, by the way. Dallas was a great multi-layered show. But Knight Rider and the A-Team were just shows that did the same thing every week. But they were, as I said, there was this wish fulfillment element about those shows. And they were great for their time. But we used to share entertainment as a family. And we don't do that anymore. It's gone. And the toxic messaging, the attacks on fathers and men from these extremists, and the stuff they say in public is embarrassing, to say the least. When you've got Viola Davis saying, if you don't go and watch the Woman King, you're a bigot. Elizabeth Banks did the same with that awful Charlie Angels remake. If men don't go and see this, they're not supporting women. How about making a great piece of entertainment and I'll fucking support whatever woman you want me to? So this is how I see the next evolution for Superman. Make him Elliot from E.T. Make Jimmy Olsen that way as well. So they're these two innocent figures sharing an adventure. And young kids will go watching a Superman movie with Jimmy Olsen as this young, naive kid being swooped away in this big adventure with Superman. Or a teenage Superman being our Dorothy and going through the tide of space and going to this wondrous adventure to this new land. And Earth is so wondrous and exciting to Kal-El. So it's a bit different from the originals and what they did in the comics. And people won't like it, I suppose, in that way. But I think the wish fulfillment element will get people over it being so different. We've had 4 Superman movies in the 80s and the 70s, including one from the 70s, from the same series with Christopher Reeve. We had Superman Returns. We've had Henry Cavill. He's been in 2 movies, right? 3 if you include Justice League and the Snyder Cut together. We don't want to do that. And I think the next evolution of Superman has to be not this 9/11 buildings falling all over the place and this climactic, whatever the word is, kind of world. But Superman being an inspiration, but not in the same way he was in the 1978 movie, as great as it was, because as people, we've moved on. People will always need aspirational stories and characters to look up to, like Christopher Reeve's Superman, like Dorothy, and like Mark Hamill's Luke Skywalker. It doesn't matter what colour you are. It doesn't matter what community you're a part of. These things will always be aspirational to you, no matter the colour of the skin of the person playing these roles, or the sexual orientation, or whatever. Because I can tell you for nothing, and I don't need to be an expert on these communities, but transgender people, gay people, like The Wizard of Oz, as we do. They want to see aspirational characters as well. And those characters don't have to be like them. Of course, it'll be nice for us to be fair and allow different people from different backgrounds to be on the screen, as long as they have the talent to be there. I'm not saying that shouldn't happen. But the way it's being done today is by putting down other groups of people. The 2 best, most successful movies of this year is Minions: The Rise of Gru and Top Gun: Maverick. Top Gun: Maverick is wish fulfillment for a lot of people. It's just a bit of fun. Whether you want to accuse it of celebrating nationalistic elements and war, it's up to you. But it's a lot of fun because it's about camaraderie and, you know, fighting against the odds. And The Rise of Gru is just brilliant. It really is. And those 2 movies deserve to be the best we've had this year. People will be screaming up to me, what about the Batman? Well, the Batman I like it as a one-time watch, but ultimately, you can only watch it once as far as I'm concerned. Some people won't agree with me. And it's the very element that I talk about in comic book movies today. They're either not taken seriously enough or they're taken too seriously. And that's the problem we have today. And this is where the discourse really comes from. Because cinema and television is no longer something we enjoy together. It's something we either hate or like together. And there lies the problem. Then you've got the issues of the aggregate scores on Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, which cause more discourse. Those things really have to fucking go as well. As a people who enjoy being entertained, we need to go back to enjoying this stuff. Having our hearts opened up for 2.5 hours, whatever, and coming out with a smile like I've got right now when I think about this stuff. We don't get that anymore because we're being told that we're bad people within our movies and our television. It's all ever so serious, and when they try and make you laugh, they don't make you laugh because the people running Hollywood today, their only problem isn't that they're overtly so extremistly, so political and full of hate for one group of people, straight white males. I try and, I can only imagine what it's like to be my nephews and nieces, my nephews especially, when they go and watch a film and someone like Captain Marvel is putting down a man and they're thinking, hang on a minute, I don't understand. I'm confused. What have I done to Brie Larson? Why is she on a stage putting down men? They're not going to understand. Do you get it now? Do you get what that problem is today? So whether you're a fan of the DCEU or the MCU or whatever, and this is something else, isn't it? We've become very territorial with our entertainment. The DCEU, the MCU sucks, the DCEU sucks. It's become a war. Entertainment shouldn't become a war. I didn't have arguments with kids at school, whether, there wasn't Looney Tunes is better than, Mickey, Pluto and Donald. No, we just love stuff. No, I know there was this kind of thing with kind of game systems like Commodore 64, against the Spectrum, and we had that. But they were joyous debates. They weren't like today. We live in a very angry, hateful society today. And we brought those hateful feelings into our entertainment. And the only way the public can change the way... Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. I talk too much, that's the problem. But the only way we can be more positive in the way we consume entertainment is if the people that make it stop being angry. Stop being angry at us. We haven't done anything to you. The problem with the extreme left is they're focused on the past. We can't fix the past. It's time to look to the future. But wholeheartedly and compellingly, we need to look at that wondrous element that entertainment was. It made people happy. So this is why I cry when I watch an old movie. I watch an old documentary like the Wizard of Oz one yesterday. Because I remember the genuine aspirations of people making entertainment back in the day. And there's no genuine aspirations today. This is why there's these arguments with Rings of Power. There's not a genuine love for Lord of the Rings and what Tolkien did. It's about rewriting history. It's about, this is why they're doing so many revivals and so many reboots, because they want to put their own worldviews in great iconic stories, but then turn them into these mundane pieces of crap that no one's ever going to watch. This is where we are today. So being part of entertainment consumption today, or entertainment social media, is very depressing. It's not inspirational, it's not aspirational, it's actually very upsetting to someone like me who loves to be entertained and loves entertainment, loves acting, loves writing, and loves the fact when people go and watch something, that they enjoy it. When someone goes to see one of my plays and I'm standing on the stage as the main character and it's something I've written and directed, and people will laugh and enjoy it and cry, that gives me a good feeling. And if they don't enjoy it, that upsets me, not because I blame them, because I blame myself. And that is what the relationship between the consumer and the creative should be. But we're not there anymore. Because the people working in entertainment today don't understand the roles of what a consumer and a creative should be, they don't get it. They want you to consume their shit and blow smoke up their arse, whether it's good or not. That isn't good. That isn't right. English-speaking Western entertainment is dying because we have the wrong people running it. The reason Warner Brothers is on the verge of bankruptcy and 60 billion in fucking debt, all right, verge of bankruptcy is an exaggeration, is because the people who are running it have no clue. In all honesty, David Zaslav actually knows nothing about entertainment, but he's brought people on who get it. Hopefully that helps for the future. The people running Disney today don't understand entertainment. They don't understand the person who invented Disney, Walt Disney, what he was doing. He loved animals. He loved fairy tales. He loved make-believe. And that was beautiful to him. Disney isn't what Walt Disney would have wanted. Today's Disney. In fact, it's sacrilege to what Walt Disney invented. And this is what I'm talking about. Our forebearers who invented all these wonderful forms of entertainment. Their morality, their emotions towards entertainment is being killed by robotic political people who are not there because they want to entertain you, not even educate you. Yes, movies used to educate us. They don't even do that anymore. And not educating us politically, but educating us morally, emotionally, and how to love everyone. They don't do that. I mean, if you are truly a social justice warrior, I would take it if you were educating me like Russell T Davies did with Captain Jack. When Captain Jack and the Ninth Doctor kiss, I cry. I've learned something. And that's a beautiful moment. But today, the creatives and producers in the studios want to come at you with hate. And when you come at people with hate, you're going to get hate back. These people must be removed, and we must bring people back to the industry who love telling stories. And until that happens, I'll be watching films like The Wizard of Oz and so many of the great movies I grew up with, because the modern day industry isn't for me. And if it's for you, I'm very happy for you, but it's not for me. This has been Movies TV Mad. I am Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. So, until we see each other again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.